Welcome back to another episode of Fish and Grits, the podcast, episode 10, guys. We've made it to 10 episodes thus far. At the beginning, I didn't think we could get here, but we are here. We are currently playing hurt today, gentlemen. Hurt, but not injured. We've called in a pinch runner, and I will say this pinch runner is much faster, much more athletic, probably better looking than our other runner. So today we welcome to the podcast BYRON Parker. BYRON, welcome aboard.
I appreciate you having me. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, man. We're glad to have you. Oh, also, special shout out to our international listeners that we just gained. We've gained some listeners from Ireland and France. So, bonjour. And
Bonjour.
Holla.
How's it going, guys?
Going well. You got to introduce us to Ryan.
Oh, yeah. You forgive me for my missteps, but these are my co-hosts. This is Micah Poole in the top left.
Everybody.
In the bottom left, for those viewing, this is Marco Restrepo.
What's up, guys?
And the aforementioned BYRON Parker in the bottom right.
Three-time CFL All-Star.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey,
we'll get to that, man.
Cool. So you want me to go ahead and jump into these current events? So just for our listeners, just so we can sort of orient you with the time that we're in whenever it is that you tune into this episode, what's going on in the world right now? First, we're going to hit you with that Kanye West declaring that he's going to run for president in 2020. All right. And then we got Trump this week. We've talked a lot about Bubba Wallace on this show and the whole news fiasco with NASCAR. So Trump, he called out Bubba Wallace on Twitter, and he's asking for an apology. That's not going over well. Of course, in the city of Atlanta that we all live in, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms has tested positive for the COVID. She does not know where she got it from, although I assume it's from her husband. And then lastly, Governor Kemp, he calls for the National Guard into Georgia after some violence-filled weeks where over 75 people total have been shot. And unfortunately, there's been some deaths, including the 8-year-old Sequoia Turner. And so, blessings out to her. Y'all have any opinions on these current events that are sort of going on? How y'all feel about all this stuff going?
I yield the floor to you gentlemen.
As far as I have a daughter, I am a father, and just to have the shooting going on with the 8-year-old little girl is very, very disturbing. So I'm definitely sensitive to that.
How about you, Micah?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that was tragic right there. I mean, and I don't even think anybody knows why the dude just open fire on that car, but
two of them opened fire.
Apparently, it had something to do with there's some type of blockade or something over at that Wendy's where Ray Shard was.
Where that protest
exactly. Right on Pryor Road.
And it was like a shootout between the two parties or something. I don't know. It's
all that happened after the shootout between the two parties happened like a couple hours after and just feet away. So what happened was they were blockading the road. They had a human blockade out on that road, and they pulled up on it, and they were trying to go around because they were like, you know what? Look, I've got my daughter with me. I'm just trying to get out of here. As they tried to go around, two men jumped in front of them, and from the accounts there is they just opened fire on them unexplained. I believe the passenger, her mother's friend, also got struck by a bullet. I could be wrong on that, but there's several bullet holes in the car. You can see the photos if you so please to seek those out. But then they also unfortunately struck Sequoia. They took her to a nearby hospital, and she passed away there. So the senseless violence.
That's crazy. Wasn't it 40 alone on the 4th of July or something, like 30 to 40 alone on
something crazy like that.
An Plies car. Rapper Plies got his car shot up downtown.
Did he really?
Yeah. Right there off Edgewood. They had a picture of his car with bullet holes in it.
If you want trouble, go to Edgewood at this point in time.
It didn't used to be like that, man.
It didn't. I used to live right down there. So
yeah, man. It's a shame.
Oh, it's so funny. My sister's she works for APD. She is a crime scene investigator.
Okay.
And so being down there in the midst of all that, it's just ridiculous the stories that you hear. coming from her, from somebody that sees.
Oh, I bet you got some crazy intel.
Oh, I got some crazy intel, bro. Crazy.
I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse to know all that.
Truth be told.
Another thing, though, the whole Trump and Bubba Wallace thing. Trump, anything that distracts his base from what's actually going on is what he's going to do. I mean, first of all, none of the NASCAR drivers are upset that they came to Bubba Wallace's defense or that they came to support him. So there's no need to do an apology. Two, with all the COVID and all of these white supremacists out there still hanging black folks, lynching black folks for no reason, you don't talk about that. But, between Monuments and Bubba Wallace, you can call people wanting to tear down Monuments terrorists, but you can't call the KKK and other white supremacists terrorists.
They just don't want to.
And the worst part about that is that Bubba Wallace isn't the one that posted about it. Bubba Wallace isn't the one that brought it to anyone's attention.
Right.
Bubba Wallace didn't even see the news.
Right.
Yeah. NASCAR informed him.
Right. NASCAR informed him, and they asked for the investigation from the FBI. Right. And even after the FBI said this isn't a news for that, NASCAR was like, we don't believe you, and continued their own investigation. So.
Right. And to add to that, I don't think we ever really retouched on the issue, but after we did the first episode, we actually saw more information come out about it. And there's no way you can look at that picture and say that wasn't fashioned like a noose. Like, that's ridiculous.
I mean, because I don't know how many of y'all have garages, right? But I know at my parents' house, at their garage, their pull string looks nothing like that.
Yeah.
No.
It just be like
a rope. No need for a slip knot in a pull rope.
Right. No need.
Exactly. Let's move it right along, though, gentlemen. Let's get into this NFL segment.
Grits Blitz.
The Grits Blitz, as we have named it. I don't know if your knowledge of Atlanta Falcons history there, Byron, but that is a throwback to the 77 Falcons defense. The Grits Blitz, the best and most unknown defenses in NFL history. What they did is they lined up and they blitzed the hell out of the quarterback. And what they focused on was turnovers. You probably would have liked playing in that defense.
I definitely, because I was definitely a guy that liked to see my D line and linebackers get after it so I can sit on routes.
Right. So with this Grits Blitz, we have a special segment here, obviously, with our guest, Byron Parker. We really want to get some nice insights for him being obviously he trumps my rec league championship or any of our other, maybe collegiate ball for some of the other of us. But Ryan has some great questions lined up. So Ryan, go ahead and jump in.
Let's reintroduce you. Obviously this is Byron Parker. I'm going to allow you to kind of give us a little history about yourself. Tell us about who you are, what you stand for, what you've done, what has gotten you to this point in life.
All right. Well, again, hi, what's up, fellas? I appreciate y'all having me, man. It's definitely a blessing to be here hanging out with you guys today. A little bit about myself. I went to Stevenson. I was a basketball player my entire life. Never played football. I played in junior high, 8th grade football. And after that, my mom was like, no, you're never playing football again. We're gonna focus on basketball. And I ended up going to Tyler Junior College. I had a couple of track scholarships, actually. A lot of D1 track scholarships, but they told me I couldn't play basketball the first 2 years, so I decided to decline them. So I went on to Tyler Junior College after twisting my ankle. I went there for 2 years, went to Tulane in New Orleans, had a great time. And then in 2003, I won the NCAA Slam Dunk Contest.
Right, I looked at that footage. You beat Helicopter from N1.
Yeah, but I say you had some stiff competition in that dunk contest.
And the funny thing, right immediately after that dunk contest, him and I went to a European workout for for the European League or overseas, and we were on the same team.
Oh wow!
And when I say it was a dunk fest,
I could imagine.
But I've never seen somebody dunk the ball as hard as he dunked the ball.
Some of those ones he missed in that contest. If he would have made some of those, I don't know if history would have.
Yeah. History probably would have been a little different. But I tell people all the time, his best dunk he didn't even do. He did some kind of dunk when he went up, touched the backboard, and then did a 360 in the air and then dunked it. I was like, you should have done that dunk. But moving forward, I won the dunk contest, and it's so funny. I went to a pro day at Tulane, and the Jacksonville Jaguars were there, and they said, if you come back and play a year of football for Tulane, we'll sign you. And so I went back and played, and they signed me just like they said they would. Now let's be granted, let's be honest. I was a terrible corner. I was fast and I could jump, right? I could run vertically,
right?
But covering, no, I didn't know nothing. Defense was, I played nickel actually. The last game of the season, senior night, when everybody gets in, all the seniors start. I got an interception, and that was it. And my career took off from there. This was at Tulane.
Okay. Nice.
Yep. I got an interception, a one-handed interception, and my coach, Chris Selfo, told me, yo, you just wrote your ticket to the NFL. And that was it.
So you're telling me you couldn't translate your basketball defense to the corner?
I could.
Unless you were one of those players that took a time off on defense. Don't tell me that's the truth, Byron.
No. So in basketball, I was a hellified defensive player, right? I led the Conference USA in steals per 48 minutes, or was it 40 minutes? I apologize. Right. But man to man in football, you already know you don't make that many interceptions, right? So you transfer my skills to the Canadian Football League. So one thing a lot of people don't realize about sports is it's all about timing. You got to be in the perfect scheme at the perfect time, right? With the perfect coach. And in Jacksonville, when I went to Jacksonville, one, I didn't understand the NFL game. I didn't understand the terminology, right? Cloud coverage, cover 6, cover 9, cover 3, all of that, right? But when I got to the CFL, when they were able to dumb it down for me to teach me, right? Teach me the basics, then my basketball and my athletic ability and my vision allowed me to take over the game, right? So now I'm playing back in zone defense, and I was really, really good at reading the shoulders of point guards, forwards, or centers, trying to make passes and stuff. So I end up playing basketball on the football field, right, which allowed me to lead. Now I have the most in CFL defensive touchdowns in CFL history. Have the most interception touchdowns in CFL history, and it was just because I was able to use the skills that I learned on the basketball court and I translated to football.
So just before we get back to the main question, so you said that the CFL was a lot more willing to sort of nurture you. Is that the case? In the NFL, they just they weren't willing to take the time with you, or how did that work out?
Well, when I went to the NFL, I went to probably the number one defense in the league at the time, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Donovan Darius, Shane Mathis, and Deion Grant, and Anthony Mitchell, and all them guys, right? So when I went to the CFL, I was able to kind of redshirt, right? They allowed me gave me really a redshirt year. They threw me in on offense a couple times. I started the last game of the season because it didn't mean anything. We were already number one in the East. So I was able to learn the game, right? And, and I know the NFL, they got a way more money on the line. People always ask me what's the difference between the NFL and the CFL. I said about $138 million per team, right? Our salary cap when I was playing was $4.2 million. The NFL's what, 140 or something like that? So you're talking about
50s now.
Right, a huge difference in money. So I understood, and I wasn't mad at Jacksonville when I got released, but a guy by the name of Shaq Harris had a contact in Toronto, and that's how I ended up getting in Toronto, because Shaq Harris thought I had the ability to play, and I went to Toronto, and then after that, it was lights out.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool. So the majority of your time in the NFL seems like you spent that time as a practice squad player.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you in the audience who don't know, Byron, can you kind of explain who and what a practice squad player is?
So the best way I can explain it to you is you have Tom Brady and then you have his backups, right? If that makes sense, right? So I was a guy that had to cover kicks for the kickoff team or for the kickoff return team, or I had to do punt block for the punt team, right? And it's just giving them a look as to what the other team scheme is for that week, right? So say if Jacksonville was playing against, I don't know, Tennessee, and they had a corner that would cheat or something like that, I would go out there and I would follow the game plan of what the Titans might do. But well, a lot of people really don't realize this, man. The stuff that you got to do to get that practice money, that practice squad money, now knowing what I know now, it's not even worth it. You know what I'm saying?
What are some of those things?
Man, you gotta be the dummy. You gotta be the practice dummy. You know what I mean? You can't get hurt. Like, you can't get hurt, right? You can't. It's just not something that you can do, right? If you get hurt, then you're going home, right? Because they really don't need you. They can go find somebody else to be a practice squad player. Right. So you just, to me, like, knowing what I know now, when the stuff that my body's gone through, to me personally, and this is somebody whose dream was not to play in the NFL, it just wasn't worth it. Like, it's so much you have to do to get that little bit of money.
Right, and I'm sure it was even lower than what it is now.
I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes just signed $503 million.
Oh, we gonna get to that.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So, were you treated differently by the rest of the team and the coaches?
As by the team, no. And one thing about,
one of them.
They embrace you, and it depends on where you're at. Like, Jacksonville was perfect for me. Like, I got around a group of guys. They were willing to take me under their wing, although I didn't make the team. But they taught me so much, right? When I went to Philly, when I went to Dallas, it was the same way. I built a relationship so good with a friend of mine named Willie Powell that I would go to his house every day, eat his snacks. And Anthony Henry, he would look out for me, and Terrence Newman and guys like that. They were all looked out for me when I was in Dallas. So, like, but when it comes to, like, the coaches, it's just different when you're on the low totem pole versus being the top, right? There's certain things you can't do that the star player can do, or somebody that they already have a relationship with. So, it's just the same thing that we all go through on a day-to-day basis.
Cool. But real quick, before we move on to, like, your success in the CFL and some of the more details about that. So I just, for people watching, like, 2 questions. What is the time frame, like, of a CFL season? And then for when you were on these, like, practice squads, was this, like, preseason stuff, or were you on a practice squad sometimes, like, into the season?
So the time frame for the CFL, so we typically start after Memorial Day, right? June 1st is typically first day of camp. Then it goes all the way through November. So I know you guys, I don't know if you guys have talked about, like, the NFL talking about adding a game, or they want to add 2 games, 18 games, right? Well, in Canada, we play 18 games, right? And then sometimes in certain weeks before we added, when they were only 8 teams, now that there are 9, we would play 3 games in 12 days.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And you talk about football, like, football's football. Like, you run into somebody, I don't care who it is. Like, if me and my daughter put on pads right now, if we run into each other, it's going to hurt. Now, it's going to hurt her a little bit more, but it's still going to hurt, right? So the time frame, we would play 18 games in 18 weeks, and we would only had 2 preseason games. So what they're saying about the NFL is really not far-fetched. They just got more money than we did, right?
They got a perfect model up north.
Right. Because you figure, like, the money thing with the NFL and CFL, you got to remember, Canada is bigger than the United States, but only 10% of Canada's lived in, which is why the revenue is so low. And it's a hockey country too, right? Mm-hmm. You can't compete with hockey. No, even if the teams are terrible, you can't compete with hockey, right? You just can't. So yeah, that's the timeline with the CFL as far as, like, games going. And you play, like, 2 games to get into the Grey Cup, and by the time you're done, if you go to the Grey Cup, win the Grey Cup, you're done probably by after Thanksgiving, right? Okay. And as far as the NFL, I just only went to camp. I never made it to the made it to the team. Although 2009, I went to Philly, played. I actually got into a verbal altercation with one of the coaches on the football field, and Andy Reid had to separate us. The next day, right, we played against Tom Brady, I believe, and the Patriots. And then that Friday, I got cut for Michael Vick.
Right.
Right? I got cut for Vick. So now it's like, like, I can't be mad at that. It's Michael Vick. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, if I had to look at myself in the mirror, it's like, Byron, all right, man, would you choose you, or would you choose Vick? I would choose Vick over me myself. So I couldn't be mad at Philly. But, me getting into the verbal altercation with the coach because he was trying to, he tried to play me off, me playing in Canada in front of my teammates. Yeah. I got cut on a Friday. I drove up to Canada that Friday night. Saturday morning, they called me to come back. Philly did. So I told them, I said, well, can I give you an answer Monday morning? Now, understand, like, I never wanted to play in the NFL. It wasn't a dream of mine. I went to Dallas because the Toronto Argonauts made me go, and I went to Philadelphia because the Toronto Argonauts made me go.
So they were looking out like that. They would have contacts and they send you down like that.
So what would happen is like they would contact our GMs like, hey, we're interested basically in Byron Parker. You know, we want to give him a shot. I would have to go work out for the teams, and then I would sign the contract. And so what it was, they just wanted to keep that relationship open for future references. I don't know if it was because they wanted to possibly get jobs down there or whatever the case may be, but they wanted to keep the relationship open. So for me going down there, kind of made it look good on the CFL, or other guys that go down there. And a lot of guys, their dream is to go to the NFL. But so when they called me back, Howie Rosen called me back Monday. It's like, Byron, are you gonna come back? Like, we really want you to come back, because I played every position in the secondary. And that was the year that Jim Johnson died. And if anybody knows anything about Jim Johnson defense, like, oh, it's hard. Like, it's hard. No, you got to study. I played strong safety, free safety, corner, and nickel, right? But they asked me to come back, and I told them no. I'm not coming back because me and the coach, we just don't get along, right? And so that's why I ended up not making, I think, that Philadelphia team. I probably could have made the team, possibly, but we never know.
What year was that?
Though.
That was
2009.
2009, yeah.
Yep, 2009.
So kind of take off on that point. So what's the major differences? What are the biggest differences between like the coaching philosophies and styles in the NFL and the CFL?
Coaching philosophy, I think, it's the same. I mean, football's football. You got cover one, you got cover two, cover three, you got cover zero, you blitz. Like, but I think to me, the biggest difference in the CFL and the NFL is the speed. I think there's more speed in the CFL. Remember, because receivers get a running start, right? Versus the NFL, everybody's stationary. So imagine having 6 guys moving at the same time, right? You got 6 guys moving at the same time. You're trying to figure out who you're covering. So if you can't, especially as a DB, if you can't cover in the CFL, it's gonna show.
They're gonna burn.
Like, you can't come from the NFL and then think you're just gonna come up there and kill the CFL. And offensively, quarterback wise, remember the NFL is 50 yards wide. Well, it's exactly 53, but they always say 50. The CFL field is 65 yards wide.
Wide.
Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you got
That's
65
huge.
yards wide, and you got 12. So in the NFL, it's 11 men on the field. Regular football, right? American football is 11, and the CFL is 12.
Wow.
We got 12 men on the field, 65 yards wide, and then you got 20-yard end zones versus 10. So you could be at the 2-yard line and get a double move.
That's
right?
crazy.
You could be at the 2-yard line and get a double move and be done. Versus in the NFL, which is you always see people struggle to score in the NFL at the 5-yard line because there's just no more room.
Yeah. No space.
But in the CFL, you still got 20 yards of end zone.
Imagine calling in a sluggo from the 1, Micah.
Oh, from the 1. but
post corner.
Imagine getting a sluggo and the dude's running full speed when he hits the line of scrimmage.
God.
Yeah. So you have to be able to cover. So as far as that goes, like the NFL and the CFL, I think if they widen the NFL field, the game would be much better.
You think so?
Even if they did it, even if they did it like 8 yards, give them more room to play, right? And it might cut back on injury too.
But Aaron Rodgers is gonna keep on doing that. What's that penalty where he be snapping the ball when people still on the field?
Yep. But which is smart football,
right? It is.
All right. So you actually kind of answered the next question I was going to ask you is about the difference in the speed of the game. So I know you said the game is faster because the receivers can get a start, but as far as like the other aspects,
the tempo,
just watching routes develop and so on. Like, is it faster in the CFL than the NFL?
I would say yes, because again, you got guys moving. So you kind of like, But if you know route combinations, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you know route combinations, you know an out usually comes back with a curl. You get somebody that's moving down the line of scrimmage. They run a quick slant that kind of open up windows for you. If you can figure out route combinations, you can play football, man. And I'll tell you, the way I learned route combinations is playing Madden.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you look at Madden, the route combinations are the same thing that they use in the NFL. You know, like sluggos, you got post corners, the scissors. Like scissors is in zone is one of the hardest routes to cover. Right, because you don't know if your free safety's gonna take it, or if the corner's gonna stay on top of the post, and you leave the corner butt naked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you start learning route combinations like that. Then, you know, you can play the game. But then also in the CFL, another reason I think the game is faster because instead of having 4 downs, you got 3. Right, so you go 2 and out, you punting.
Yeah.
Right. So, Mike, I don't know how big you are. Like you're a big, pretty long guy, right? But you got to think like a strong safety in the NFL is a linebacker in the CFL.
Yeah.
And a linebacker in the NFL is a DN in the CFL.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know,
speed
there's speed everywhere. It's speed everywhere. You know, offensive linemen are pretty big, but you got some guys up there that got great feet. Right. So the two hardest positions to play in the CFL come from the NFL is quarterback and corner.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got quarterbacks that think they have a strong arm until they got to come throw from the hash to the wide side of the field.
Mm-hmm.
They might throw an out route it might be a 60-yard throw to get 2 yards. Right?
Oh man.
You right? So you talking about a floater, so you got somebody out of me that's waiting on that pass, and I'm going down the sideline, interception for a touchdown.
Right.
Marco, your boy Ken Dorsey wouldn't have made it, man.
So Marco, you're a Ken Dorsey fan.
Yeah,
Ken Dorsey played for the Argonauts. He was one of my teammates.
Oh, he was?
Before he went to Carolina.
How was that?
Ken Dorsey, he's a good guy. Pretty good guy.
Yeah.
Was his arm as weak as it actually looked?
Yeah, I believe it was, but smart though. I mean, because he left. I think he left Toronto, went straight to Carolina. I believe, didn't he? Didn't he go to Carolina to be like
he was there for like a year,
a quarterback's coach or something like that?
I know he's with the Browns.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He was a coach.
The Browns and the Panthers, I think he had coaching jobs with.
Yeah. So you know, like he didn't have the strongest arm, but you know, Eric Crouch, no.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
he was more of a runner though.
You were a runner, like you were high school. I mean, I played with Ricky Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How was Ricky?
So,
you burn one with Ricky?
Yeah, Ricky, but phenomenal teammate though.
Yeah.
Phenomenal teammate, smart. But you know, he wanted to play linebacker, but they wouldn't let him. Insurance policy.
In the CFL, he wanted to play linebacker?
He wanted to be a two-way player.
No, Ricky wanted to play defense. He wanted to play. He didn't want to run the ball
the whole time.
Right? He wanted to play defense. But you know, they had to. I guess they must have made an agreement with the Miami Dolphins at the time that he would play running back. But he ended up breaking his forearm. He ended up breaking his forearm while he was up there. He had to stay in the hyperbaric chamber for a while. But yeah, and when he came back from the hyperbaric chamber, they let him run down on kickoff one time and told him that was it. You'll never do that again. But he was as a person, as a teammate, phenomenal. And you kind of see, you kind of got to see him kind of start to open up more, right? Because you remember in the NFL, he would wear his helmet during interviews, and he was kind of more of an introvert.
Yeah.
And up there, you know, he had
they would ridicule him.
Right. But up there, we embraced it. Like, all right, well, cool, Ricky. Like, if you want to say something, cool. But then he would start getting up there and start addressing the team and telling jokes and stuff. So you kind of got a chance to see him kind of open up more than he had in previous times.
Right. That's interesting.
I think if the policies would have been a little bit different, he probably would have been a Hall of Famer in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. He still might make it.
So I got one more question I wanted to ask you. So
okay.
I know you said that the players are smaller and faster, but does that make any difference? Do like CFL players deal with the same type of head trauma after they're done, as opposed to like NFL players do?
I think so. I think that now they're a little bit more conscious about concussions. I know I've been concussed a couple of times and then take myself out of the game. I know one time I actually, and people really don't realize you get concussions in different ways. I got knocked out one time by making a tackle on one of my teammates trying to jump on my head from not hitting me and knee me in the back of the head. I was knocked out, right?
Yep.
I was on the sideline in a jacket and didn't know how I got there.
Wow.
Right? Just watching on the film. So there's so many ways that you can get concussions. Even like a friend of mine, he was a first round draft pick, Willie Middlebrooks. Teammate, he was making a tackle. Willie was making a tackle. Our teammate came and hit and broke his neck. Career over. Right? So it's not always, you know what I'm saying, you hit running up and making a tackle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, it can happen anyway. So do I think we deal with concussions? I'm like, anytime you run into somebody head full speed, it's always a chance of being concussed, right?
Especially when they have running stars out here.
Yeah, all right. And I think it's just the game.
Yeah,
it's just the nature of the game. So, but yeah, I definitely think head ailments or head contusions and concussions, all that still plays a part. I mean, I've seen a guy get hit on kickoff, and they what you call driving a car. He got hit so hard he laid down and looked at his arm, started doing that, started driving the car, knocked out.
Damn.
Right. So,
are wedges still legal up there?
Not really. Like, no.
Okay.
But you put 3 linemen back there on kickoff, like, they're gonna run some people over.
Now, that's really cool stuff. Now, I really want to touch on this because I know we talked about it a little bit pre-show, but first, who do you root for?
So it's funny. I don't even like football, if I'm being honest. Right? I don't like football, and last year was the first year that I ever sat down and watched football. And I was able to go to the Super Bowl when it came to Atlanta, right? I was able to go to the Super Bowl, so that was a pretty cool experience. But I really don't have. I like players. Like I'm a Mahomes fan. I like DBs. I like Jalen Ramsey. I like all them guys, man. I just like to see good games. But the only thing about NFL I don't like a 3 to 7 game. And that's the thing I liked about being in the CFL is points. Like, that's a boring game to me. The game is boring. All the running.
Which Super Bowl was that? The Patriots.
The one where the
Rams.
Patriots beat the Rams 7-2, 7-3, or something like that. So terrible game. You know what I'm saying? The atmosphere was amazing, but the game itself was terrible. It's terrible.
So, who's your basketball squad?
I'm a LeBron fan. I like the Lakers. I like the Lakers. I'm a LeBron fan. But you know what? I like Ja Morant. I know everybody's on the Zion train. I'm just not sold on Zion. I'm not.
As a player or his health?
As a player. I'm just not sold on him yet. I'm not that I don't like him. I think phenomenally, like dunking and all that, is phenomenal. I'm just not sold on him yet.
Undersized big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you don't have the complete package yet. Yeah,
no. Somebody, if you find a way to keep him off the board, then
right.
Who's boxing out 280 though on their back?
Yeah, that's the thing about today's NBA.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Ain't no Shaqs down there. Ain't no.
No, ain't no Shaqs. So I mean, like, I'm gonna tell you who is somebody that slept on. Although he's a superstar, Paul George.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, he's so skilled.
On both ends of the court, he's disgusting.
On both ends of the court. Like he has a package. Like, I don't know if y'all play a 2K. I don't know if y'all 2K fans or not, but like his package on 2K is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Sure. He reminds me of T-Mac a little bit.
Right. But to answer your question, I'm definitely not a Falcon fan.
I got you. Now you had mentioned that you don't like the Falcons, and I think I'm putting 2 and 2 together here. Did Mike Smith sour you on the Falcons?
Mike Smith did not sour me. Actually, Mike Smith was my coach.
I know, that's why I asked.
Jacksonville, yeah.
Right. So the year I went to Philly, 2009. So I worked out for Philadelphia on a Saturday, and then I came to work out for the Falcons Monday morning. Right. Mike Smith was the head coach. Dimitrov is the GM who was from Canada. Mm-hmm. Right. He's Canadian. He played football with one of my mentors. Right, so we had that relationship. Mike Smith had a relationship with him. from Jacksonville. And then the tight ends coach was the guy that got me to play football, Chris Selfo at Tulane, right? So I'm like, yo, I'm in. So, I go out there. I have a phenomenal workout. If you ever seen the workout, if not, they put you through DB drills and they want you to catch the ball. But lastly, the thing they do, they're like, oh, you're in cover 3, you get a seam, go up and get the ball. So I went up and got the ball. Like, I could jump. I went up and grabbed the ball, one hand out the air.
43-inch vert, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Landed in bounds, got up and handled the ball. That was it. End of the workout. Fast forward, Les Snead is at the time player personnel. I think Les Snead is now the GM of the Rams, correct?
Correct. I think so. Yeah.
So I'm an open book, right? So 2003, I had 2 women pregnant at the same time. So I got 2 kids, right? I'm a great father, right? I take care of my kids, have them all the time. Like, I don't have no drama. The mothers, like, we're perfect. We get along. So we're a blended family, right? Like I said, I have my daughter and her little brother, who isn't mine, over here now because my daughter's mom got COVID. So like, I'm a family man. I'm a family. I love my daughter's siblings like they're my own, right? We're family. Philly's giving me $30,000 up front this time, right? I know this. I tell Les Snead, it's like, hey, we want to sign you. We think you can come in. We think you can play right away. It's like, okay. Now I live in Lastonia. Flowery Branch is probably about 35, 40 minutes from my house, right? I asked Les Snead, it's like, okay, can I get a sign-on bonus of $5,000? He says no.
What?
I'm like, $5,000? Man, I just need gas money to get back from Flowery Branch to Atlanta during workouts, right? So if y'all know anything about taxes, $5,000 after taxes turns into maybe $3,300,
right?
Just like that.
Yeah.
So he says no. I said, well, why not? I said, Philly's giving me $30,000, and they're giving me a $20,000 workout bonus. His answer is, well, we don't give guys in your situation bonuses. So I'm like, well, what's my situation? He was like, guys with multiple baby mamas, the mamas have a tendency to feel like they have made the team and they cause drama. I was like, come on, man. I was like, bro, I said, I don't have that problem. I said, as a matter of fact, I've been up here all day. I didn't go get my son. He was like, well, if you walk out the door, the deal's off the table. I turn around and walk out the door. And ever since then, I haven't rooted for the Falcons yet. And he ain't even there anymore.
Right. That's that vaunted Falcons filter. That Falcons filter.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, dang, how can you say that? Like, I know one of your players got baby by 2 or 3 other girls that I know of, right?
Yeah.
But we had Brent Grimes, whose wife is Miko Grimes, on the team for years, but yet they had a problem.
Yes. Yeah. I know Miko personally. I know Miko very well. Cool girl.
Okay.
I would say that. Yep.
That's crazy, though, that not only the Miko thing, but then the Vic thing and all that, but they worried about your 2 baby mamas.
Baby mamas. You know what I'm saying? Dude, for $5,000? For $5,000, bro?
Man.
For $5,000.
The Falcons blink and they made 3 times that.
Come on, man. I swear I asked for $5,000. It was to the point my dad was going to come up there and get into Les Snead, but I was like, there's no point. I'm just going to go to Philly.
Yeah.
And it worked out, though.
So let me ask you, what's the big difference between playing in, being an athlete in Canada versus being a professional athlete in the States?
I'm going to tell you something. And, I don't know if y'all are Cowboys fans, right? Cowboys fans, anybody?
No.
Let me tell you something. When you have that star on the side of your helmet, if they know that you're a star, a Cowboy, you're good in any city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You are good in any city, right? I'll never forget. I played for the Cowboys in 2006. Now I'm a nobody, right? I'm a nobody. I was with the Cowboys. I came to Atlanta, and somehow they found out that I was coming to the club. Now we had Falcons players in line. They let me in before the Falcons players, right? Which is you talking about? I'm a nobody. I'm nobody. I ain't made the team. I ain't made a single play, but I played for the Cowboys, and that was America's team. and they believe that everywhere you go. I don't care what people actually believe that everywhere you go.
That's real.
Right?
Wow.
But love in Canada is completely different, man. It's just completely different. It's just, and you know, like being in Canada, I wish I could have raised my kids in Canada because they got it right. You know what I mean? So it's not even like as far as popularity goes. It's just like their way of life is just different. And I'm not saying that, you know, and I've had the political conversation with people before, and I've done a couple other podcasts. You know, like obviously my story is different than Rashard Brooks because I was an athlete, right? So it didn't matter what color I was. People loved me just because I was an athlete. So my story is a little different, and the way I grew up is a little different too, because I was like considered to be above everybody else just because I was good at a sport. But in Canada, man, they just love you. Period. And it's just like nothing that you can really explain. You can't put it in words because the love is just genuine, right? And they just love everybody though. And like I said, I understand that there are some places and there are always going to be some people that do have hate in their heart and things like that. But I never witnessed it in Canada, right? Everywhere you go, it was just love. And, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'll take that over like stardom any day. Any day.
That's crazy.
Our northern brethren.
Yeah. Shout out Canada.
Shout out to Canada.
All right. So as tradition as we do with any guest or any of our co-hosts, what we like to do is we go week by week on the Atlanta Falcons schedule. And it's good that you don't know much about the team or our schedule. Ooh, ouch. Ugh.
17, my bad.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rapid fire the weeks for you, and you're just going to either
you write this down, Ryan, or do you need me to write it down?
I got it. Okay. What I will do is let me bring up that file before we get into this. Actually, Mark,
although
go ahead and...
I will say this. I think people in Atlanta give Matt Ryan a hard time.
Oh, you got one of them on here.
Who?
He's grinning.
Yo, Matt Ryan had one of the best seasons. Was it not last year before last, when they were like, I think I went to a game and they lost, but they put up 35 points.
He had 38 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
What more can you ask for? He
had
a phenomenal season.
Don't open Pandora's box yet, because Micah's about to go off. We'll get to that later. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead, Mike. Mark, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So we got week 1, Seattle comes to town.
Loss.
Week 2 at Dallas.
Win.
Chicago comes to town.
Win.
At Green Bay.
Win.
Carolina comes to town.
Ooh,
Teddy Bridgewater's now the quarterback, remember?
Yeah, I think they'll beat them.
All right. At Minnesota.
Loss.
Detroit comes to town.
Win.
At Carolina.
Win.
Denver comes to town.
Who's the quarterback for Denver?
Drew Lock. Yeah.
Win.
All right. Second half of the season, we start off at New Orleans.
Loss.
The Raiders come to town. The Las Vegas Raiders come to town.
Oh, they'll beat them. Vegas, they ain't gonna be ready.
New Orleans is now here.
Loss.
At the Chargers, led by Tyrod Taylor.
Win.
All right, now here's Murderer's Row. At Tampa. Oh, no, Tampa comes here.
Loss.
At Kansas City.
Loss.
And as we ask everyone, by how much?
21.
All right, so 3 scores I got us. At Tampa.
Loss.
So we end on a sour note.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses, 9 wins.
Okay, 9 and 7. It's about.
Yeah, I think they'll be 9 and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 9 and 7.
9 and 7, and Dimitrov and Quinn are gone.
You think Quinn is out?
This is a hot seat year for him. It's the reason that we were unable to trade up to number 2, because Blank told them that no, you work with what you got now, you draft well, because if you trade away all the future picks, it's not going to be your problem.
Right. I wonder who they could bring in though, coach wise. Who's out there?
Probably in the the same vein as everyone else has been doing. We're going to bring on someone young and offensive minded.
Yeah, probably one of Sean McVay's proteges.
Yeah, but they got Beasley. They didn't sign Beasley back though, did they?
Nah, he's where's he?
So
at?
they got
Tennessee?
some salary. Yeah, they got some money. They got some money.
So then the second part of that question is: do you think that they're going to finish the NFL season this year?
I don't. You know what? I don't think they'll have a whole season.
You don't think
they're not going? They're not going to start in August. I don't think.
No.
Not with the cases, because you got Arizona, Jacksonville, Miami, Texas, the Cowboys. Like all the cases, they're spiking.
Right.
Right.
Even Von Miller was saying that he had that months ago. He said he's still not 100%. Like he can't even go hard working out.
Yeah.
His lungs aren't right.
Yeah. So I don't think that they'll play a full season though.
Okay.
Not at all.
And then before we wrap up this Blitz segment, can you just tell us a little bit about what you got going on now? And like, you know, you told us you're a teacher, and just elaborate on some of these things.
Yeah, man. Now I'm a graphics arts teacher at McNair High School. I love it. You know, I thinking back at it, man, I probably should have done this instead of going and tearing my body up. Right. I enjoy being around kids though, man. I enjoy like seeing them when the light clicks, when it turns on for them, right? When it clicks for them, I enjoy it. I also do shirts. I do T-shirts. I have my own shirt line or clothing design or website or whatever you want to call it. 28 designs.
Drop it. What is it?
28 designs with a Z.com. It just comes from my jersey number. I was number 28, wore number 28. Although I thought I was going to be Michael Jordan. Growing up, I wore 23, but I fell in love with the number 28. Yeah, I mean, and then I just enjoy being a dad. I mean, my son is a rap artist, and my daughter's the number one freshman in the 1 and the 2 in the state of Georgia. So I'm enjoying life right now. I mean, I'm very, very blessed to be able to be home and be around my kids every day.
That's awesome, man. All right, so we'll continue our way down this whole NFL path. I don't know if y'all have heard, but Disney and Kaepernick have actually reached a partnership deal here recently. Any of y'all heard on that?
Yeah.
Initially, I heard about the doc.
Yeah. So the goal is they will focus on telling scripted and unscripted stories that explore race, social justice, and the quest for equity. It will also provide a platform to showcase the work of minority directors and producers. So Kaepernick's continuing his work amongst communities and the social justice campaign that he's on. So
that's pretty awesome. I think. You know, it's just weird, man. That all this had to go down and Kaepernick couldn't get a job. Now everybody wants to endorse him.
Right.
It's kind of like, you know, like, and I'm not a person that really cares about people admitting their faults, right? Because it really doesn't do anything. They'd be like, "Oh, you were right," and I know, Ryan, you're married, and you know, just the whole being with somebody, just like, you know, it doesn't do anything to hear somebody say you're right. It doesn't erase the problem. But I think, you know, I guess it's a step in the right direction, though. So I guess it's a good look for Disney. But it's just odd that, you know, all this stuff had to go on today in order for him to get a job and endorsements and things like that.
It's hard not to view someone who was made a pariah, and then, you know, now that society is starting to view it in a different light, and then all these companies jump on it. It's like, that seems very opportunistic, but also at the same time, you can't block those things as well.
Right.
I definitely get what you're
it's
saying.
Just interesting.
I think that I guess Netflix, obviously you got to look at them as like a business as well. And I think they're definitely capitalizing on all the social equity that he has right now. You know, and you still gotta always look back to Nike, who sort of made all this possible by continuing to fund Kaepernick through his trials. And I'll be interested to really see obviously his series, that the first one you talked about, but the one that I initially had heard about was his actual documentary about his life, I guess, and what led him to be, you know, get into taking a stand. And I'll be interested to see what's really in that, like, because I don't really know too much about Kaepernick besides the fact that he took a knee, you know.
A lot of people don't, and I'm really glad at who they chose to direct that. Ava DuVernay. If any of y'all haven't seen Selma, she directed that. She is an excellent director. She's done
a lot more than that, but
recently.
Yeah.
Selma's one of her bigger things, but yeah, she's done a ton, as Micah said.
But I mean, my biggest thing is I love it because as someone who supported a lot of what Kaepernick has a lot of the statements he's made and brought light to, and you know, it's funny as I have a lot of conservative white friends who are angry, who it pisses them off that he's he's just why do they keep getting this guy and blah blah and blah blah. It's like, look, obviously the NFL tried to take something from him. They tried to make him a pariah, like Ryan said, and they tried to say, oh, we're gonna take your platform away. Well,
it didn't work.
You know, he's still getting opportunities and better opportunities at that, things that he can do for much longer than playing than the NFL. So, you know, it's it's almost like like I said, I'm a Christian, so I believe like when somebody tries to block your blessings, sometimes it shows God's got much bigger plans for you on the other side. Like
they'll come another way.
Closed, he gonna open up another door that nobody can stop from opening.
Right, because Kaepernick has been out of the league for what, 3 or 4 years?
3
now?
And 17.
3.
Will it be 4 or?
If he misses this one, it'll be 4.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll get signed. You know, Goodell's already said it.
Oh no, I still don't think I don't think any of the owners are going to touch him just because.
I think they will.
Season ticket holders. I think it's enough conservative folks with a lot of money that'll keep them from touching it.
I think the question at this point is, does Cap still even really want to play? Like they've been
He could go to Jacksonville.
Yeah, he could go. There's so many places he could go. He needs to go
to Jayville.
LA
but
Chargers.
Jacksonville wouldn't even sign Cam. So I mean,
but you know, Cam. This is I know Cam is a Atlanta native, and I know he's been the MVP, and I know people have gone back. Me personally, like I think Cam is decent. He's 6'5" though. You know what I mean? 6'5" running back.
6'5", 250, and he'll run right through you.
You know, with pads on, he's 270. It's kind of like he's Zion of football.
Right.
Right? Like, because, like, Cam doesn't throw the ball extremely well. Because, like, who, like, I know, like, every time I see him throw, it's like he's just, like, raw when he throws it. It's no touch.
off his back foot.
It's all arm. You know what I mean? It's all arm. And I like Cam as a football player, but as a quarterback right now, I don't think he's that. I would take Kaepernick over Cam.
But would you take Cam over Gardner Minshew? That's the thing. It's you know, when Gardner Minshew is your starter and you got Cam out there as an option, a former MVP, even with his flaws, is still a better viable option than Gardner Minshew right now.
Yeah, I think the scheme is going to be because I think what ended up hurting Cam is when they traded Benjamin, because he has to have big targets. He can't throw the little guys. You know what I mean?
What happened to Benjamin? Is Benjamin still getting some good play up in Buffalo, or what happened with him?
No, he got cut. Yeah, he ate his way out of the NFL.
Yeah, he got cut. He got cut. He should have became a tight end though.
Yeah,
but
he was too soft though. He was big and soft.
That Cam Newton discussion is a good segue to this next sort of topic here. So recently, as we all know, even though there's no sports going on, this was definitely the biggest story of the week. Patrick Mahomes got broke off the biggest deal in sports history, right? The first $500 million contract. It's a 10-year deal through 2031. It's on paper it's worth $450, but could be with kickers could be up to $503. $45 million a year, and it provides them the opportunity to get out of the contract if the mechanisms are not enabled.
Yeah, so this is actually a very unique contract, man. So
very unique. What's y'all's opinion? Go ahead, Byron. Tell us what you think about this money right here.
You're talking about $500 million, y'all. Mm-hmm. And by the age of 34, like He can still play a whole nother like 6 years after that.
I mean, if you're Tom Brady, like $10
billion. Right. $500 million. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Yo, it's ridiculous, man. I'm just happy for the youngster. I mean, I'm happy for him.
Right. That's not even endorsement money either. That's
exactly. That's the craziest part, right? That's the craziest part.
That's a good part. That's a good point right there too. Yeah. Just think of, like what endorsements can you give somebody? Like, look, man, you're getting $500 million. Can you just do this endorsement for like a meal?
Cut us a break, man. We know you're richer than all of us.
You're rich already.
All right, and he already has like 30 commercials on TV already.
Right. That's crazy.
Michael, what you think about that?
Oh man, it's huge, and you know I'm the big advocate on quarterbacks being overpaid, but in my
let's correct that. You made it sound like you were for quarterbacks. He's our resident quarterbacks get paid too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but in Mahomes' case, he's kind of like the force multiplier. He's that dude that even when all else fails, he's good enough to carry a team. Like you could legitimately, like they used to always say about Brady, you could just throw 3 dudes from the stands out there and he can get them the ball. Pat Mahomes boy is
my homeboy.
Instead of start saying my boy Pat Mahomes boy. No, like the offensive line, their offensive line was banged up all year. He didn't have great blocking. Receivers like Tyreek Hill missed several games. Dude is throwing the 3rd and 4th string receivers and dropping dimes off his back foot 55 yards downfield like it was.
Right.
I mean, it was I still remember it was one of my favorite analysts, Brett Coleman, broke down a play. The play didn't even count. Said they were running curls and the defense was in cover 2, which is terrible for curls.
Yep.
He climbed the pocket, rolled to his right, looked to his right to get the defense to shift over, and then does a no-look pass across his body to a receiver because that was how he got the coverage to shift. Like, who else other than maybe Aaron Rodgers in his prime, but
Brett Favre would have tried it.
What other quarterback physically can do that? And it's just like, yo,
the GOAT.
Congrats to your brother. Congrats to young brother.
Right.
What about you, Ryan?
Man, it's amazing. When I saw those numbers, I was like, oh my God. My first thought too was $500 million. And with his current contract, I think it puts him in like around 527, all said and done, because he gets like a $10 million signing bonus and all this type of stuff. I mean, in my opinion, there might be one other quarterback that can get close to that. And we'll get to that in a second. But Mike has said it perfectly. He's in a class of his own. I mean, you've never seen anyone like this in the NFL. Never.
No. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Generational wealth.
He can run well. He doesn't run often, but when he does, he can run well.
Yep.
He's got a cannon of an arm. I still remember that game that preseason game that Marco and I went to. We saw Falcons versus Chiefs. And he was sitting back in the pocket, just all lackadaisical, and then launched a 65-yard bomb casually on a dime, hit Tyreek Hill in stride. And I was like, who does that?
Right.
It looked like he barely moved his arm because, I mean, Mike Vick used to have that type of arm motion too, where it didn't look like he was throwing it hard, but then the ball sailed 70 yards. But
did y'all see what DeAndre Hopkins posted on Instagram today? He posted a picture of the score, 24-0, and it says 24 reasons why Mahomes deserves this money, right?
For real.
And I was just like, for real, because I remember watching that game. I was like, oh, the Chiefs are about to lose. And then I walked out the room for about 15 minutes, and I came back. They were winning the game. And I'm
Look at that. Go ahead.
I'm just like, that's amazing. Like, he's phenomenal, man. He's like nothing I've ever seen before in my life.
I just want to take this second to compare humility of organizations. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs, how many teams they came back on. But the Patriots, on the other hand, they want to live on that 28-3 until we die. It's like Patrick Mahomes did that thing to the three teams in the playoff run. They're not over here gloating about it. They're not over here.
Right.
It's just personifies class. But
when you got 6 of them, you can kind of get a little cocky when that's your first ever in like what?
But you think that would make them even less?
Well, I mean, we're still, but we're not even just dealing with it as Falcons fans. We're not just dealing with it from the Patriots fans. It's Aints fans and those Tampa fans, and I don't hear much from Carolina fans, but Tampa ain't been relevant since 2002, but they talk like
And so salutations to the NFL for providing a young black man generational wealth, and I'll give it up for them for that. And what was so Ryan, you were about to touch on this next topic.
Yeah.
Who else do you think deserves
who's next
contract on this level? Or is this really just because I heard that someone was trying to say this sort of sets the bar, but I almost think this is a guy by himself in another stratosphere. It's like no other quarterback. I don't care, Deshaun, not Dak. Go ahead.
No.
There's one other that, as far as what Mahomes has done, as far as winning an MVP in his second year, and then now a Super Bowl in his third, there's one other that can touch that, and that's Lamar Jackson. He's the only one that, if he continues to progress the way he does and get that passing down, if he can still be that 1,000-yard rusher and hit that 38, 40-yard or 40 touchdowns a season type of passing numbers, then you can see him do it. But no one else. Like, there were jokes about how Jerry Jones, Mr. More Glory Holes, is that's an inside joke on the podcast here.
Okay.
But they were saying Jerry Jones is cringing at what Mahomes just did to the market, but Dak Prescott does not deserve that money. Not even close to that money.
Not even close. He only not even 3.
Right. Go ahead, Michael. We'll circle around. We'll come back. We'll go reverse order. Go ahead, Michael, with who you think deserves that.
To me, that Mahomes deal is kind of like the deal Megatron got back in the day, where it was just like this dude was so much better than all the other receivers in the league. Nobody else, no other receiver, no team was going to try to offer another receiver that close to that money. Dak, no. Dak's a good quarterback.
It's a good quarterback,
but to give him anything close to that level, and if Dak thinks even in like gets the hint of an idea that I deserved it. No. no. Go play the CFL a little while. Something.
Something.
You are not in that class. You sit down, Dak.
Yeah, because I mean, you start thinking about Dak. You can't. You remember what you just said was you can go get. I mean, you can line all 4 of us outside with Mahomes, and we gonna win.
Right.
Right. We gonna win. Yeah. Just you go to this stick. You go to the sticks and just stop. I'm gonna put it on you.
Yeah.
Right. They got Amari Cooper for that. They what they go 8-8.
Yep.
This year. Like, come on, man. And you play inside, so you don't even have to deal with the elements. Right? It's perfect. Right. It's perfect football. Perfect temperature. It's perfect. 8-8. Nah, no way.
Right. No he put up stats, but they were hollow. Like he had some of the better stats in the league, but they were hollow. But I mean, that 8-8 in the worst division as well.
He didn't even do it in big games.
Right. I mean, you brought Jason Witten back. What's the boy outside? Wallop? What's his name? Wallop?
Oh yeah, from Gallup from Colorado.
Gallup. I mean, Gallup can play. You got Amari Cooper. You got Ezekiel Elliott, and you got the best O-line in the league.
Yeah.
8-8, man, in the worst conference.
In the worst conference.
Right? Dak should have signed that money earlier instead of taking that franchise tag.
He definitely should have. So
he should have taken that money.
Micah, you never really said like a quarterback you think deserves it, but I'm gonna take that since I know your stance on quarterback salaries. I'm gonna you say no one deserves that.
Well, the only to me, I mean, Lamar will probably come close. The only other one that I think is close to that similar stratosphere, but due to coaching / GM situation. Deshaun Watson is a monster, and he makes that that Texans team relevant. But Bill O'Brien does everything that he can to stand in his way. Oh, we got arguably the best receiver in the league. Let me trade him away for nothing.
For a running back.
I feel like Bill wants the credit.
Past his prime and a second rounder. Didn't even get a first rounder for him.
Bill just wants to be known as that coach that can take mediocre teams to the playoffs. So he just wants to keep on stripping it down and be like, hey, look what I did, though. Look what I did. Look what I did.
Yeah.
But still, on that, the reason I'm more partial to say that Deshaun probably deserves that money more, even though Lamar is on that. We've never seen a running quarterback be able to sustain that kind of play for a long period of time. And eventually it's going to catch up with him unless, like Ryan, you said, he develops his game and sort of.
He doesn't get hit, though. He really doesn't,
but he's going to.
Yeah, he'll get hit every now and then for sure.
He's going to get hit, especially when 2-3 years from now when he loses half a step or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Because Lamar is how many inches taller than Vic was? Maybe 2 or 3? Because Vic was what, 5'10", 5'11".
He was like 5'11".
They was like 6 feet, but
at best he was 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, him and Iverson are like the same.
Yeah, I mean, if Lamar can continue to run and get out of bounds, kind of like the receivers did when they the old Rams team, Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce them.
Mm-hmm.
If he can just get what he gets and then gets down or gets out of bounds, I think he'll be fine running. But Vic was flipping and taking hits and all that, and there's just no way he could sustain that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. And but yeah, like I said, I don't think any other quarterback's going to come near the $40 million mark anytime soon. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And on the other end, we got some MLS talk. We got some Hawks talk down here. A myriad of things we're going to MLB talk that we're going to drop off. Japanese baseball. So we'll see y'all on the other side of this break, guys.
And welcome back to everybody.
The break. Oh, wait.
Hold on. Let's edit that one out.
Hello, everybody. Back again to the Fish and Grits, the podcast. Let me get that right. And for the second half of the show, like I said, we're going to discuss some of these things. The first thing that we're going to bring to you is this MLS, which is Major League Soccer here. And it is back. The tournament is set to kick off Wednesday, July 8th, which is actually tomorrow, depending on what day you're watching this. So July 7th today, July 8th tomorrow. So some of the major news from that tournament is that a whole team was forced to withdraw after having at least 10 positive tests. Was it 10 tests, right?
Yeah, they had 10.
And the players did not feel safe about this team participating, so they withdrew from the tournament. Nashville's participation, which is another franchise, is under evaluation due to positive tests as well. They've already delayed games because players on those teams tested positive. Luckily for us here in Atlanta, United is completely healthy as they got back both of the players that formerly tested positive for the corona out of quarantine, and they're back. And Aaron Eels is actually in Orlando right now. Aaron Eels is what is his title, Ryan?
He's I think it's a GM.
The GM of our team, Aaron Eels, a real nice British guy. He's actually in Orlando right now, and he described the eeriness of the bubble. Can you enlighten us a little bit about how that interview went, Ryan?
Yeah, so he was on 92.9 earlier today talking to I think it was the midday show or one of them. Doesn't matter. But he was down there in one of the resorts that they have currently set up for their bubble environment. And he said he was one of the first people down because he had to go check it out for the team and lay it all down. But he said, like every 6 feet, they've got hand sanitizer, those type of things. Each team has a floor dedicated to it. If you're outside your rooms, you must wear a mask, those type of things. But so the craziness is, having gone to those type of resorts before, they're huge. They're made for hundreds and hundreds of people to filter through without any type of resistance. It's kind of like the Georgia World Congress Center. It's enormous, but because it's made to host that many people. So he's down there and 7 other people are walking through these enormous hallways. And he said it's real creepy. It feels like a ghost town, like he's one of the last men on earth, and he's walking around in just this mansion of a resort where, what is Disney World. So it was kind of a cool interview, gave us some insight. He said all the teams are now down there though. And
I wonder if the masks are customized. Do they have team masks?
Yeah, they do, to identify them. He said it's kind of like being on a field trip because everyone has their identifiers and their little things, so they could pick them out. But one of the reasons that Dallas did withdraw is because they broke the bubble. They are the ones that they did not follow protocol, and so they said that they all tested fine before, but someone came in. Someone has already popped that bubble down in Orlando, and I bet you could wager a pretty good guess as to what it was based around.
Right, someone hit the club.
Right.
So we know Micah is not the most involved MLS fan. Byron, what's your take on sort of MLS, and do you have any kind of relationship with the sport or any opinions on it?
No, I don't have any relationship with the sport. I know. I've always wanted to go to a United game. I haven't gone yet.
Come with us when we go.
Yeah, I would enjoy that because I heard the games are phenomenal. I heard the team is phenomenal. I know we won the championship 2 years ago. So 2 years ago we won?
2 years now. We won 2 more trophies last year as well.
Really? And I know my son has a friend of his. I think Italo is going to the 10th grade. And I think he's on their, I don't know if it was their young minor league team or something like that. Okay. Young boy. But other than that, yeah, I'm really not too in tune with the soccer. I know we had Toronto FC when I played for the Argonauts, but other than that, I'm not too in tune with the soccer world.
Maybe barring UGA, but I would even argue that it's the most electric environment that Atlanta has.
Right.
Fans are actively engaged in the games instead of Falcons fans or Hawks games where there's no one there. But it's always sold out. They don't always open the entire stadium to them. It's mainly the bottom level. But I think we own all top 10 MLS attendance records now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves because it might not be till 2021 till.
Yeah, you can finally get to a game.
Yeah.
That's all right. Hey, we got time.
We got time for sure. Yeah, Michael, what you think about all this?
It's crazy, but it's not unexpected that somebody would be dumb enough to break the bubble and wander out and have a little fun. Because it's funny. I don't watch them very often, but Stephen A. Smith complained about this possibly being the problem for the NBA. Somebody sneaking out or trying to sneak some girls into the bubble. So, it's it doesn't surprise me, but this is ultimately the problem with a bubble, because people are going to get it's kind of like what we're going through now as a nation. Everybody's sitting at home, stuck at home and can't go anywhere. Right. People are getting crazy, stir crazy from being at home all day. So I think it's going to be like that. And players just screw it, I'm going to risk everything to have fun for a night. So
let me ask y'all this. So you mentioned that how them breaking the bubble was inevitable. Do y'all think that, so the NBA players obviously make a lot more money than the MLS players. Do you think them having more money will make them less likely to break the bubble or more likely to break the bubble? Knowing that they're highly paid assets, I feel like almost MLS players are more inclined to just try to think they're normal people and just be whereas NBA players go ahead. What do y'all think about that? Ryan, what do you think about that?
So you're saying the thought of having more to lose will keep them on the straight and narrow?
That's what I think.
I would buy that, except, I introduced to the chat J.R. Smith.
Right? Yeah, I knew it was coming.
No. No.
Shirtless in the club somewhere.
You know what? I think Mark, I think I feel what you're saying. I think if LeBron goes out, people are gonna recognize him. You know what I mean? J.R. Smith goes out, people. But the funny thing is, like, I don't know if it's really not much to do in Orlando.
Yeah, that's why they picked
right,
that.
right, which is really a smart thing to do because it's really not much to do in Orlando. I think the NBA guys would probably be less likely to go back. I knew somebody was going to say something about J.R. Smith. I was hoping nobody said something about J.R. Smith, but I think the NBA players would be less likely to go just because they're just so, they're so recognized. Patrick Beverly might be able to go out because nobody know him. They don't know him as much. Not saying they don't know him, but like
Patrick Beverly doesn't have fun.
Out. Right. He's all business.
His fun is denying others of fun.
Yes. So I don't know. I think that the NBA players are less likely to go out than the soccer players.
What about you, Micah?
I disagree with that. I think that the money can also create bigger fools. So some of these dudes are just like, oh man, look, I'm getting paid. I got my money. I'm all right. I got to go out and have me a good time. It's like, I can't sit in here all day, just practice, train and stuff like that. No. I got to get out. I got to see some girls or something. I got itches that I have to scratch.
It's going to be Kuzma and JR are going to hit the town.
Oh my God.
They're going to drive to Miami.
So I think the real question is, it's like, do you think, I would say groupies are going to be more likely to fly to Orlando where they know, because it's like, it was really all-star.
Oh yeah.
Month.
Yeah, it is.
It's like all-star month.
Except
yeah, it's the month now, right? All-star months, I guess. So, I wonder what the flights are going to look like now.
That's
people going to be willing to risk the flights or bringing girls in from out of town, or I wonder what rental cars are going to do, right? Because now
you Uber them down,
right? You just drive them down, like drive down. I'll pay for your rental, you and your homegirl.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's a real aspect because you're gonna have 3 different professional athletes in the same town.
Yeah.
So they could go down there, come back with a whole new life.
I mean,
come back with something, all right.
Another thing you got to think about: how many 19 to 22-year-old NBA players are down there right now? You know how hard it is. Like, these are kids who haven't really been away from home that often. They got money and like trying to keep them locked in a place, like focused. Now, like the most of the vets, I think, are good. They'll stay put. But 19, think about like us when we were 19, 20, 21 years old, bro. Like the last thing I wanted to do was stay at home and just do like nothing. Like, oh man, I got to get out. I got to do something.
But I think just be based off what I've seen, the vets are the ones that party the most because they know the ropes.
Right.
They know the ropes. They know like the rules. They know like the spots. They know where to go. You figure like, let's say somebody like J.R. Smith. How many times has he been to Orlando versus a Ja Morant?
True.
Right. So he knows all the places to go. The vets are the ones that I think you worry about because the rookies or the younger guys are less likely to do something to make the vets mad. Right. The vets, and this is coming from a guy that's been around a lot of vets, like they move and they know how to move real silently as well. They're sneaky. Vets are sneaky, man.
Oh, I agree. But considering there are some, like I said, 21-year-old superstars down there.
I agree.
But that's why Chris Paul put all those magic bands around them to make sure he knows where they all are at all times.
Chris Paul could be snitching.
Speaking of the NBA, that's a good transition point. So just like the MLS, in all sports from now on, there's going to be COVID resurgences. Spencer Dinwiddie recently made the news as he tested positive again. I guess it's in the series of tests that they get. So he has not cleared it yet, and he will not travel to Orlando. So that leaves Brooklyn Nets with about 2 players at this point.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you.
So Joe Harris and Levert are going to need to step it up. More teams continue to shut down their facilities. The Bucks have recently shut down the Knicks, which is interesting because everybody wants to know, why are the Knicks practicing at all?
If you're shutting down your facilities, who was there? You're not in the playoffs.
Is it just R.J. Barrett? R.J. Barrett's just in the gym by himself.
Right. Getting up shots.
Right, getting up shots. Lakers assistant coach Lionel Hollins has opted out of going to Orlando because he is considered in a higher risk demographic. Nets player Garrett Temple actually confessed that he has nervous anxiousness about making the trip, and he was quoted as saying, "We will have to adapt. We will get tired of it. But in no way, shape, or form will anyone actually be comfortable, whether it be on the court or off the court, during leisure time or not." Contrarily, Serge Ibaka said that the entire Raptors team is locked in and they are ready to go. So what are y'all feeling about? We've already sort of been discussing this, NBA, but Byron, elaborate a little bit more about some of this information you're hearing right here. What do you think about some of this stuff?
I worry about them, man. You know, like I said, I thank God, like I haven't had to experience the COVID, right? Well, not that I know of anyway. But you know, just because who wants to get pneumonia, right? Yeah. Who wants to get pneumonia in the lungs, man? I mean, I talked to my dad. My dad has had open heart surgery. I know they're not the same, but chest pain, like I don't know, man. I think we're just rolling. They're rolling the dice, and I'm a LeBron fan, and I think this is just an opportunity that people are using for him to get a ring, right? But you know, it's scary, man. Just because we don't know enough about it. Like, how do you really get it? And they have their theories, but you know, I worry about their safety. You know, but I goes with because we need something. You know what I'm saying? We're all going cabin. We all got cabin fever, right? So yeah, it's just gonna be interesting, man. I hope it works out though. Definitely.
Ryan?
I mean, to kind of piggyback off what Byron said, COVID is crazy because people are dying from it different ways all over the place. Like that Broadway actor that just died the other day, Nick Cordero, he had to have his leg amputated.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like, I mean, people are becoming double amputees. They're going to have to go on dialysis for the rest of their life. They're drowning in their own phlegm. Like, I mean, it doesn't kill you the same way every time, and it affects everyone differently. So, I mean, I agree that it's definitely worrisome. But NBA-wise, it's going to be interesting. Have y'all seen the courts?
I think I did. It's sort of just like, I saw like
it's a big conference center. They've got all the courts laid out. If you've ever played 2K online and gone to the stage, it looks like you're playing at the stage.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. My daughter actually had a workout down there or a track meet, and we would go into the gym to cool off because that's where all the air conditioning was.
Yeah. So it looks they've dressed it up really cool. It's going to be a really unique experience. I think I touched on it last week or the week before. It's going to feel like an AAU game. It's going to feel like an ABCD camp. You're going to have you're going to have them all if they're allowed to come watch others' games, they're going to be standing around the courts like that. It's going to look crazy.
Swanee Sports Academy.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, Mike. I see you want to say something.
No, I think it's crazy, like you said, because you don't know how like, we don't know enough about it. It's still fairly it's a lot that's unknown. And like I said, you know, then you got to think about like players like Karl Anthony Towns, who lost his mother.
Just lost his mom, yeah.
And, you know, it's even though they're in a bubble, like, you know, players, you might not be able to bring your family because, you know, you don't know, like if somebody, even you think they might be in great health, but say like one of the players' wives has asthma and it might not be serious, it could potentially kill her if she catches it. So
that's why Avery Bradley opted out, because of his son or his daughter has breathing problems.
Son, his 6-year-old son.
Yeah. Is it son? Okay.
So it's dangerous. It is dangerous, and you know, I know a lot of the players need money, or they just need the money because they weren't getting paid, and
right.
they're willing to do it to take care of their families, but it is a dangerous game, and they got to be very cautious.
And even to touch back on Garrett Temple, that's the reason he's playing, is because he said he needs to earn a paycheck still. He can't afford to live without it anymore. And even as scared as he is, he's thinking, you know what, I got to get paid somehow. So
got to get paid. Yeah.
Got to.
It sucks.
Which really sucks because what's the minimum salary for the NBA?
It's quite a bit. Yeah,
I think it's 900,000, but that's not for like Garrett Temple probably makes like $7-8 million a year.
Yeah, so which is really crazy about just money, right? I think COVID has also been a good lesson on about like saving money.
Yeah,
I know playing football, or even if you have a really good job, you really never think about further down the head. I know I didn't. You just never think the checks are going to stop.
Right.
Oh, but when they come to an end, how do you keep up that lifestyle? So like I understand like the players wanting to play, but it's just I hope it's a lesson to a lot of them just to try to be a little bit more frugal and smart with your money for just in case for future references, right?
Yeah,
definitely. With that in mind, it makes me wonder, because remember they said they're going to try to bring all the teams that didn't make the sort of playoff dance to Chicago, and I'm like, why would y'all put more players at risk? But I guess it's so that they can get paid, so that they can, because they said they want them to make them play some games or something like that. But I'm assuming it's just so they can cut them a check. What was that, Micah?
That and for revenue purposes for owners.
Right. And it's like with someone like LeBron, I wonder what like he's thinking right now, because someone who's so outspoken on a lot of things, we haven't heard much from him about his feelings about this. And obviously, like you said, I'm sure he's so charged to win this championship, not only for himself, we can't forget that happened earlier this year.
Right.
And I just wonder what some of these, because so many people have been outspoken, but we haven't heard from LeBron really yet as to what he thinks about all this. But yeah, like y'all said, man, this is crazy. Like someone like Von Miller, Freddie Freeman, we don't even know if these guys are going to be able to get this thing, recover, and play at full, at 100%.
Ever again.
Again,
Right.
Your lungs are fully compromised.
You figure, because I don't know if you saw when the other day went on the news, I was at my parents' house and they had a guy that was saying that he had been in hospital or been dealing with COVID for 76 days. Like 76 days?
And $1 million hospital bill.
Right. 76 days, man. Like,
right.
It just doesn't seem worth it to me.
That's why everyone got in their head, like, oh, it's only 14 days. You'll be fine. It's like, no, not for everybody.
Not for everybody. Right. So that's, and I, like I said, y'all know what I was saying about earlier about my daughter's mom. I worry about her because, like, you just never know. We say 14 days, but it could be way longer.
Yeah.
Right. Like Kat's mom took like a month and a half before she succumbed to it.
Yeah.
And just like Von Miller, he had that 3 months ago, and he's still suffering from it. So you just never know.
Never know.
But I guess we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. On that note, usually every week we have well, it's not really on that note, but usually every week we have a loser of the week. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Ryan handle that today.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to introduce one of, in my opinions, one of the most not honorary, but the most worthy losers of the week, because it's not just something that they've done once and they moved on. It wasn't like one action. This guy has repeatedly made an ass of himself, but not in his own eyes. I'm going to introduce to you Aubrey Huff. So some of you, that name might sound familiar. He started off with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. He was a third base, like outfield type of guy, and he was actually really good. He played for quite some time. He moved around after Tampa because no one had success in Tampa in those early days. And then wound up in San Francisco and won 2 World Series titles with them. Very good player, very big dumbass. This last week, he actually took exception with Bubba Wallace. He came for him on Twitter, and Aubrey Huff actually has his own podcast that's apparently fairly successful.
Fairly racist.
He's got about 136,000 followers on Twitter, something like that, and he's got his own hashtag Aubrey's Army. That's kind of his legion of followers that does his bidding and spreads his hateful messages everywhere.
It's Bayhive.
Trump supporters.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, all of his views align with very, very right-wing views. I would not be shocked if he is a part of the QAnon movement and all that dumb stuff. But he took exception with Bubba Wallace, and kind of similar to what Trump did here recently, he called Bubba Wallace out for the whole news thing and his handling of it, even though, like we covered earlier, Bubba Wallace didn't do anything but be black and be in NASCAR. So he said, he was a charitable, or he was the recipient of charitable acts by NASCAR and his fellow drivers. He didn't like the fact that they pushed him up to the front. He thought it was, he's one of those people that you see online. It's like, oh, well, because you are pointing out racism, you're making this about race and that whole thing, those stupid stances that people take. And went at him, and then Bubba Wallace kind of shrugged him off. But he said something along the lines of, I hope you enjoy another 32nd place finish this week, Bubba Wallace. But unfortunately, you've blocked me, and I can't do that. So Aubrey's Army, can you make sure he sees this? But the weird thing is, Bubba Wallace has never finished 32nd this year. He's never finished dead last in any of their races. But then Bubba kind of gave him the middle finger by finishing 9th in the race. So he finished in the top 10. He finished in the money. And then added Aubrey Huff afterwards and said, while I appreciate your support, your tweet didn't age well, homie. The hashtag Aubrey Army lost like your – the hashtag Aubrey Army lost like your prize Confederacy did. Keep them lips running, buddy. So Huff, in his unending wit and intelligence, he went to the depths of his knowledge banks and pulled out a great philosopher in his response to this. He quoted the famous Ricky Bobby and said, if you're not first, you're last, Bubba. Congrats on your 9th place finish. It's a big win, buddy.
Wow.
So he's a big jackass. He is well-deserved of the loser of the week because he's continued on after that. He's gotten into battles with Trevor Bauer, one of the podcast favorites here, for his views on all this. And then he just went at Deshaun Jackson today for his little slip-up that he's mentioned here. But he's saying to boycott the NFL because of that.
Wait, Deshaun, you talking about Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, what you got?
Well, here's the funny thing to me. And, I don't have problems with people being conservative, but it amazes me how he, as vocal as he is about his conservatism, like he's quick to call people out. Like he called him out. He called out Bubba Wallace. But when the Giants said they didn't want you to be at their function to honor the what was it, the World Series?
Oh yeah, the World Series. Yeah, I saw that.
And he got offended. You're offended because they said we'd rather not associate with you. Now, granted, San Francisco is a very liberal city, and you're a very staunch conservative, and you're vocal about your conservatism. You knock you knock liberals and call them stupid and all that, so on and so forth. But
Snowflakes.
When a team in a liberal city decided we'd rather, and they weren't rude about it when they just said we'd rather you not be a part of this. You're offended. Bro. You're a victim now. You quick to call other people victims and talk about how they're victims and how they don't deserve to be victims. But in this, you're a victim, and you're right. It's right that you're a victim. Man, get out of here, man.
Let me clarify on something that what you were saying. Conservative does not equal racist, but racist equals conservative every single time. So
every single time. That's interesting, man. I mean,
go for it, Byron.
I don't know, man. It's just I just think that people just feel like they have the freedom to say what they want to say when they want to say it, and I just don't think that's right. I really don't. You know what I mean? I just know there's so many things that I want to say or that I want, but it's like, it's probably not the right thing to do. Right? Sometimes it's like, man, it's okay to keep your opinion to yourself, no matter what your platform is. You know what I mean? But it's just unfortunate, man, just that he feels the way that he feels. But I mean, I guess he's free to feel that way, which is the beautiful part about it as well.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment that, sometimes you can't always just say what's on your mind. But I think what this time, with this COVID and this time to ourselves has sort of done is it's exposed a lot of people who, otherwise might have just been sitting there brewing up a storm, like our boy Drew Brees, who was sitting on Kaepernick, who was mad at Kaepernick for 4 years and decided that now was the time to voice that. But, but one thing I'll say is like that I've really noticed, like I observed this video of, I guess I forget what state it was, but like this young black kid, he went camping with his white friends to go
that was terrible.
A solar
and they tried
system.
To hang him, right?
Yeah, so he was out there and they rolled up on him. All these white people chased him in an ATV, and then they were about to try to lynch him, and then I guess some people intervened. But with that, it's like, in my opinion, it's like, damn, man, sports really, at some aspect, distract so many people from this stuff. Because I feel like if a baseball game was on, all those fucking rednecks would not be out there, on ATVs chasing black folks. It's like, there's so much time now and people are just brewing in their emotions and so upset. It's like, why are all these white folks so upset at black people? For what are they so mad about? And what could possess them? It's just wild, the depths that people are pulling out of their inners to express to the world at this time.
But you know what, man? Like what I've learned over this past time, it's really not even the racist people that I'm really have an issue with, right? It's like the blacks against the blacks is the ones that I'm having the biggest problem with. Because like even with the whole NASCAR thing about them not being able to wave their Confederate flag or wear the MAGA hat, the thing that scares me the most is me being somewhere and me not knowing who I'm around, right? So if I see somebody waving a Confederate flag or having a MAGA hat, at least I know who they are, right? I know what they believe, I know what they stand for, and I can respect that. Like you've drawn your line in the stand. That's what you stand on. That's what you believe. And I can respect that. I don't necessarily have to like it. But it's just like, if I was like against like Black Lives Matter and I've seen a lot of stuff on Instagram, it's just like, yo, like at the end of the day, man, like if you go out, you're black. You're black. Oh, they don't care who you support. You know what I'm saying? If it's about to go down, like you're black. And you know what I mean? Like, I have a lot of cousins, like, so my family's mixed on my mom's side, right? My uncles are black, they marry white women. My cousins are mixed, and I love them, right? They're my family, right? So, like, I hate when people say they don't see color because clearly I can see that I'm black and they're white, but my love for them is I love them, right? And I fear for them. I fear for their safety. I'm just like, at the end of the day, though, like, you're black. I don't care what you say. That's how they'll treat you. And so just if a Bubba had to go through that and especially in that sport, it's just very, very unfortunate.
Right. And then he has to deal with people coming down on him, like for the president. Yeah. You got to deal with the president coming down on him when he didn't even initiate it. He's not even the one who brought it up.
Right. So it's
just
unfortunate, man. Yeah, existed. Exactly. That's I've never heard it explained better than that. He just existed.
Well,
sucks.
It's the distraction though. But you go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, let's move this on off to the rest of the baseball world. Stop focusing on these losers and talk about a country and a league that has done it right so far. And that's Japan. They've been playing baseball here for about a month. I think it was about episode 4 or 5 that I mentioned that I was watching Korean baseball because they were back. And it was funny that what they did, instead of having empty stands for a while, they put little stuffed animals all over the stands. So it looked like people were in there. That was amusing. But hey, guess who's actually going to be in the stands coming this week? Real live people. They're going to start off with 50% of stadium capacity at baseball and soccer games because their curve went up, down, and then stayed flat for the foreseeable future because they did it the right way. They socially distanced. They didn't go out and party at the club. They didn't go to pool parties. They didn't, do all these things. So good for them. They get to actually go back and enjoy live sports again.
Awesome.
But that transitions us to our Major League Baseball system and
who didn't handle it right.
Yeah, who didn't quite handle this the right way because they're just, what they're doing what the rest of the country's doing. They just got tired of COVID and they said, we'll deal with it. Freddie Freeman, your all-star first baseman for the Braves, has actually contracted COVID-19 just this past week. They reported to spring training down there, and they're on their last week right now. But he has been put on the COVID-19 disabled list, injury list, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a 10-day list is what they're currently listing it as. But his wife reported that he has full body aches, a high fever, chills, terrible. He's bedridden. He's got it bad. He's got one of the, the typical what you heard at the very beginning around March time, that what it is. It's kind of like pneumonia, and it just kicks your ass. The worst part about this is they said that they socially distanced this entire time. Leading up to this, they didn't leave the house. They didn't leave their estate. Is probably a little easier when you got Freddie Freeman money. But they always ordered things in, and they socially distanced. So as soon as he gets down to spring training, he contracts it. Him and 3 other Braves players get it, but 2 of them seem all right. Another one just has a fever, but Freddie really got hit hard by it. So that leads me to the question, in his absence, saying let's just go with the 2 weeks, but possibly for the remaining 60 games of this season, who's going to play first base for us, Micah?
I'd actually heard they talked about Austin Riley potentially, and Duvall played some last year. So I think those are looking to be the 2 top candidates to kind of rotate there, and especially Riley, because I think if his bat, if he learns to hit something other than a fastball, then you really want his bat in the lineup.
For sure. I mean, but you're losing a Gold Glover there at first baseman and replacing him with a guy who is a backup first baseman. So
yeah,
that's going to hurt. What do you say, Marco?
Yeah, I mean, just like Snit said, it's not doing us any favors to be without Freddie, or like you're going to get to Markakis. But I mean, at first I just want to say, damn, Freddie's really going through it because his was so bad that Markakis talked to him and he was like, well, I'm not doing this. And, but I do think, Austin Riley, obviously players just going to have to step up. That's just what it is, because it's not looking like we're going to have him at all, honestly, because the way that, from just like I said earlier, Von Miller, still does not have his lung capacity back. And Freddie's obviously going through the full brunt of this. So, yeah, man, Austin's going to have to step up, or Duvall, whoever can do it, man, because, we still got Ronnie, though. So that's all I'm thinking on.
What you got for us, Byron? You a big baseball fan?
I'm not, man. So I'm just going to go with the good old stereotypical next man up kind of.
Yeah,
exactly.
Next man up. Just got to make plays. One thing about sports is when a star goes down, man, it gives somebody else an opportunity to come in and make plays. And sometimes you just hope. You don't have to hope. You don't hope, but you need somebody to get injured, or in this case, get sick, to get a real opportunity.
Yeah.
Right, because if you're not looking over your shoulder, then you're not really afraid to make mistakes and
mistakes. That's what they say about Matt Ryan.
Make plays. Yeah, right.
Leave my quarterback alone, Micah. Leave him alone. So that Marco mentioned it, but Markakis actually this last week has opted out of the season for us. Now, it's not as big of a hit as Freddie. It's not anywhere near as big of a hit as Freddie, and especially this year since we've signed depth to replace him on the field. But that's our old salty veteran. I mean, the guy's 36. He was by far the oldest guy on the team, and he has playoff experience. He has all that type of stuff. It's valuable leadership that we're losing. But he was quoted as saying, "I'm at the point in my career where I'm not chasing the money. I'm not chasing any of that. I want to win and have fun. This game is about having fun. To have to go out and play in an environment with no fans, to me, that's not baseball." So I think Marco really nailed it. Is when he saw what this virus is doing to a 26, 27-year-old Freeman.
He's 27, I think.
Yeah, and just ravaging his body. Markakis at 36 was looking at that saying, you know what, man? This ain't worth it. I got a lot of money. I don't need that.
I'm good.
So,
yeah.
But
go ahead.
Before you go on, what I think this can do for us, because, we're going to have to shift Duval around. We're going to have to shift some pieces around to fill Freeman's spot for 2 to 60 days, 60 games. I think this is going to provide an opportunity for that Braves farm system to really shine. A lot of those prospects that we've got out there that we've been saying, we want to bring them up, but, we've got an all-star here, we've got an all-star there, and we were loaded. We had log jams at certain positions, like our middle infield and our center field was always just stacked. And that's why we were able to get rid of Andrelton so easily. That's why we were able to move on from players that, typically you wouldn't see teams move on from, but because Atlanta has always been a farm team system, or one with a good farm team, we were able to do that. So I want to hear who y'all think this is going to clear a room for, and what type of impact are they going to have? Marco?
Well, I wanted to piggyback off what you were saying, though, because I just think this could create potentially a Cinderella type of story. All the young guys come together for this little 60 game stretch, and and then we'll be darlings, and we can be the Braves of the 90s again and be everybody's favorite and all that good stuff. I'm not sure of all the people who are necessarily on the in our minor league team. I know that Austin Riley, obviously, they kept putting him back on the bus back and forth.
Well, Christian Pache is probably one that you've probably heard a lot, and he's
Christian Pache. I know that name. Like I said, I can't pick a specific one, but somebody better step up, because they talk so much about these guys that if they don't, then it'll be a real disservice to them. Because like Byron said, when someone gets sick, this is your opportunity, to become a star, especially in this abridged season when everybody's going to be watching.
I actually have 2. Because not only did Freddie Freeman, but we also didn't talk about Touki Toussaint. So I think Pache could potentially get some spin, because no Markakis, so we might need that extra outfield spot. But also in Anderson, might get some spin on the mound. Just might get some shots in the mound to see what he can do. 60 games. You might as well throw him out there, see how far along he is, and if he's not ready, then you can send him back down to AAA. Send both of them back down to AAA for next year, and until you feel like they're ready. But I think now is a better opportunity than ever to see what you have at the big league level for those 2 guys.
So just treat it as a tryout for a lot of these young guys.
Yeah,
I hear you, man. It's a good idea. We've got a lot of young bodies to really throw out there and see what they got.
Did y'all hear that the Braves are going to start the season with 20 games straight
in a row?
Yeah, 20
no,
games
I didn't
in
hear
a
that.
row.
Wow.
There's going to be 4 different teams that have to play 20 games in a row. And the Braves
is it 20 and 20, or is it spread out?
Yeah, 20 and 20. Yeah, the Braves get to be one of the ones who actually start their season that way. It's
short end of the stick.
I hope the Astros got that.
Right, as the other ones, you might be able to do that.
Oh man, that's
baseball.
Ugly. I would really like to watch some baseball, because it's one of the ones that you can socially distance on the easiest. But
yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. So
we got time for this MMA.
Yeah. Speaking of fighting for your life, MMA has they'd thrown around for a while, and they talked about Fight Island. That was a possibility for quite some time, and they said they were working on it, but they never told anybody actually where it was. Well, they just revealed the location of it the other day, and I could be butchering this, but it's Yas Island, which is right out. It's one of the man-made islands right off of Abu Dhabi. Well, I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with Abu Dhabi, but they love making islands out there. They get those big old barges out there, and they
all that money.
Get those sand cannons in them. They pull up the sand from the bottom of the ocean. They just shoot it. It's the craziest. That's how they built that entire. I forget what it's called. That palm tree island out there.
Where is Abu Dhabi? In Indonesia? Where's that at?
No, it's Did I say it's in You know what? Did I just mix up Dubai and Abu Dhabi?
Dude, yeah, you did. It's Dubai.
I did mix them up. Podcast, don't hate me. That was an honest mistake.
It's all good.
It could have been a geography lesson. It's like, where the heck is Abu Dhabi? Yeah, I know it's a
catch, Marco. But so this is essentially the MMA headquarters until the end of this month. What they did is they got an island out there. They took it all to themselves. They closed all the businesses out there, and they took it over, essentially. It's now MMA Island is what you can call it. So it's not quite what it was built to be, where it was this lawless environment where kind of like Enter the Dragon, for those of you all that are Bruce Lee fans.
Bruce Lee.
Fighting and deaths left and right with these, kind of like a Mortal Kombat tournament.
That's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see.
Your soul is mine.
It's one of these, it's an island out there that they have that's got roller coasters, they got theme parks, they got all these type of things out there. It's essentially just an annexed place of the island they've taken over, and they're going to do this. They're going to have the first fight on July 11th, though, followed by fights on the 15th, which is really odd because that's a Wednesday. I guess people are home. They can order it now.
Yeah.
The 18th and the 25th. Now, I forget the card they just announced for one of these. It's a really big one. A lot of people are in.
I know my Nigerian dude is going to be fighting somebody.
But.
And it was like, I think Masvidal or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it was one of them. I forgot who he was fighting.
I don't know their names. I haven't paid attention since like MMA got really big about 10, 15 years ago, and I just kind of let it die. But the crazy thing is they're going to be starting at the same time here that they normally start. So 10 p.m. Eastern, United States Eastern Standard Time. They're going to have their fights airing. So that's good for us, and it's good for the MMA because they're going to get their viewership money. But out there, it's 6 a.m. Fighters are going to have to be waking up and fighting each other at 6 a.m. Who wakes up? And it's like, you know what? Someone's about to get their ass beat. It's time. The sun's not even up, but you're about to get it.
That's terrible.
Like,
get out of bed, fight.
Right. Like, I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. I'll pass. Get me in about 3 hours and I'll be good.
That's like it doesn't make much sense. Like, how were they gonna like sleep deprive them or put them in like dark rooms?
Either that or they're gonna have to keep them on like the East Coast schedule, and they'll be sleep at awkward times there.
Yeah, black everything out.
Yeah,
have it be like Dracula's Castle, just no windows.
Just seal them all in. What you munching on, Byron? What you got?
Let me tell you. I hate to do this to my daughter. Like my daughter, like she's really, really, really smart, book smart. She has the least amount of common sense. Right? Real pretty, beautiful. But it's just so slow, man. She's trying to open some apples for her brother. And I thought she's over there trying to tear it. You got to kind of like, you can like zip lock it back. So typically sometimes you got to tear the top. All you have to do is open and pull the bag open.
You had the freeze pouch.
Right. Like, come on, man. She is amazing.
If you weren't there, she would have figured it out eventually.
I doubt it. Her brother probably would have figured it out, but she definitely would.
Try to pull him through the hole.
Oh man, I worry about her sometimes.
But on this MMA, the highlight that I saw was the fact that they were going to try to do it on the beach, but then they brilliantly realized it's going to be 100+ degrees
right
in Dubai.
But that's got to be pretty cool. But for them to be able to get that set up in this amount of time is also pretty awesome.
Well, they've been working on it for quite some time.
And to be in Dubai, I mean, I've never been there. I've always wanted to visit.
Right.
It's probably one of the best places to be as well. It's hot, and probably I mean, I don't know what their coronavirus cases, what their cases are over there, but I haven't heard.
It's hot as hell. It probably doesn't do well over there.
Yeah, it probably doesn't do well over there, right? So that's
Abu Dhabi is the capital of the UAB, by the way.
Yeah.
United Arab Emirates.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Geography lesson.
For our just for intellectual listeners, again, I apologize.
So, but it's in Dubai, not Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
is it? No, no, because Dubai and Abu Dhabi are two different places.
Exactly, but
it's in Abu Dhabi.
Okay. The Yas Island. Yes, the Yas Island is in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
Yes, you were right.
So you were right, Ryan. You were right the first time.
Kind of. I'll take it. I'll take my wins where I can get them.
Yeah, you were right, man. I'm going with you. You were right.
All right, guys. So let's move it on into our lightning round question. Now,
did you think of one?
I didn't. Micah sent me one.
Okay.
We're gonna go with, other than the city you live in. No, I'm gonna go with the other one, Micah.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh.
I'll give you a second to ponder on it.
I already know.
So,
this adult or in your younger life?
Whenever you developed your first celebrity crush.
Yeah.
Whichever one's the better story.
Yeah. Now, so in the meantime, what I'll do is while y'all think about this, I'll tell y'all a story that I told Nicole, my wife, last night that I just happened to think about. So do y'all remember about 10 to 15 years? No, it was 2005. Back in 2005, there was the Georgia Tech bottle bomber. He was the student that got arrested for making bottle bombs, and this is how it was aired everywhere.
I don't remember that.
All right, let me pull.
This was in the 2000s.
Yeah, this was 2005. Okay. So I'm going to read you the article first that was written about him, and the one that is, when you search this person's name, this is what comes up. Then I will tell you the story. So, just a day after a bomb scare rocked the Georgia Tech campus in Atlanta, a student was taken into custody after he admitted to producing homemade soda bottle bombs in his dorm room. Freshman, leave out his name, turned himself in to the campus police Tuesday and now facing a felony charge for possession of a destructive device and a misdemeanor charge for reckless conduct after he confessed to tossing at least 3 soda bottle bombs out of his second-story dorm window on the school's East Campus.
He was doing it out of his dorm? What a goofy.
Both acts are punishable under Georgia law, and if convicted, the 18-year-old could be facing some time behind bars. At Georgia Tech, and I'll summarize the rest of it. A janitor picked up a bottle that had not exploded, and it blew up in his hand, scared him. He went to a clinic, and they're like, "Oh, you just got some minor scarring. You're good to go. Wrap it up, treat it. You're on your way." Atlanta police officer C.W. Moss was quoted as saying, "It is a terrorist act at this point, and depending on the outcome of the investigation, it potentially could become a federal violation as well." Georgia Tech police were notified. They evacuated 2 different dorm rooms, and this was national news because Georgia Tech is a huge institution. It's right in the heart of Atlanta, and you have a terroristic student downtown making bottle bombs. Now, when you hear that, your first thoughts are pretty serious, right? He was making bombs out of bottles and munitions, and he was throwing them out his window, and he was trying to kill people. So rewind it a bit. I got a call from my mom one weekend when I was out at West Georgia, and she said, "Hey, if you were planning on coming home this weekend, don't, because you don't have a place to stay. You don't have a place to sleep." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what? What do you mean?" Like 19, 20-year-old Ryan is really confused at this point. Like, what do you mean I don't have a place to stay? And she said, "Well, you might not have it for a couple weekends. And for those of you who know, West Georgia is a commuter campus. And everyone goes home. On the weekends, that place is a ghost town. There's like, of the 13 to 15,000 students that attend West Georgia, only about 37 of them stay on campus on the weekend. So you have free reign to do what you want out there, and that's why I got in a lot of trouble." But that's a story for another time. So I get this call. My mom's like, hey, don't come home. You don't have a place to stay. There's someone staying in your room. And I was like, this is kind of odd for my parents because they're not the most like social people. They don't like to bring a lot of people in unless they know them. So I'm like, what do you mean? Why don't I have a place to sleep, Mom? She said, well, there was a student down at Georgia Tech that got in a lot of trouble. And we work with his parents, or we know his parents somehow. And he can't leave the state because he's under investigation, but he also got kicked off Georgia Tech campus. And he was staying at a hotel for a while, but his parents couldn't afford to do that. So we took him in. Actually, I don't think they knew his parents at all. So I was like, what? I'm like, wait, are you talking about the bottle bomber? She's like, yeah, but here's the thing. The story that the news is airing is a lot more ridiculous than what it is. So this young man, being a smart individual that attended Georgia Tech, liked science and liked to experiment with things. So what he had one day was some dry ice. And so he was taking dry ice and putting it in 2-liter bottles and putting water in there. And for any of you that know what happens when you put water in dry ice, it creates a lot of gas. Mm-hmm. So he was just, throwing it out the window, not thinking anything of it. So this is my story and my relation to the Georgia Tech bottle bomber of 2005. that if you look at this man's name on the internet still, this is what comes up. They have still not cleared him of this. He got kicked out of Georgia Tech. He appealed to come back. They would never let him come back because he was treated as a terrorist.
Well, he had to know them bottles were going to blow up, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you're an 18-year-old. It's like when I went and made potato cannons. I mean, those things can get you arrested. Especially.
Did you launch them out your window, though?
Well, I mean, not out my window at people, but in the fields behind the dorm room and at people. I did a lot of dumb things, Mark.
I'm
gonna be honest, that dude fucked up, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best decision, but you're 18. I'm sure you made some pretty interesting decisions at 18. But
yeah, I did.
I digress. Let's get to your first celebrity crush, and it's any man's game here. Go for it, whoever wants it. Not all at once, gentlemen.
I'll lead off. I already knew mine. So my first one is I'll do a 1A, 1B. But my first one was a weird one. It was from the 1996 Olympics. There was a gymnast named Dominique Moceanu.
Oh, Moceanu.
Oh, okay. Moceanu. I thought you were about to say Dawes.
Dawes. Yeah, well, Dawes was cute too. But for some reason, there was something about Dominique Moceanu's little bangs. And I was like, oh, my God. And I had like a picture of her from the program. I had everything. And I would sit there and watch women's gymnastics just to see her. And then Hillary from Fresh Prince.
Hillary.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
Go for it, Micah.
All right. So for me, I kind of have a 1A, 1B because I actually was introduced to both of them around the same time. It was Tyra Banks and Nia Long. Now, Tyra Banks still looks great, but like Nia Long is still like my all-time, like that's my favorite right there. If Nia Long ever gave me a chance, man, I'd be the happiest man on earth.
Man, shoot.
Where did you see them both on Fresh Prince, right? Because they were both on Fresh Prince. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will had all the bad.
He had them all,
actresses.
Bro.
Yeah. Every single one, he brought them through on his show. I'm like, geez. That even made me think like there's really no like popping black actresses like that anymore. Like who could even try to do that right now? Like there was like 20 girls he brought on his show that were all popping and became super famous.
Yeah.
The closest thing you probably got is Nick Cannon on Wild 'N Out and how a lot of those girls that come on there.
But they don't really become famous.
Yeah, don't become
some
famous.
Of them do.
Some Instagram famous.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I mean, that's fame nowadays is Instagram.
Yeah, you're right. You get a little blue check by their name.
Right.
I think mine was Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry, and then Desperado Selma Hayek.
Oh, yes.
Ooh. Man.
I love Selma Hayek.
Oh, Selma was special. She was special.
Still is.
Yeah.
When was the first time you saw Halle?
What was it? Boomerang?
Yeah.
But then when she did like Swordfish and James Bond.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I ain't never seen nobody come out of water like that before.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the only scene in Swordfish I watched.
Yeah. So, them two, they were special. What about you, Ryan?
So I'm gonna give you 3. So my first real like celebrity crush, and this is not a real person. This is like little Ryan, like, ooh, this person is nice. It was Jessica Rabbit.
Ooh,
goodness gracious.
I can see.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. That cartoon was drawn not for children. That was not a cartoon made for little kids. But I'll give you 2 that really shaped my my taste, or at least awoke something inside me that I was like, oh, okay. So, and I don't remember the movie for the first one, but it was Kelly Rowland in a movie. It was
don't say Freddie. Don't say Freddie versus Jason, please.
No, was it? It was like Smart Guy.
No, it was like a cheesy, like she was like it was almost like a rom-com, not a rom-com, but like a romantic movie. I don't know what it was. I was out at my grandparents' late at night. They live in Alabama. They had satellite. That's all I could watch. And I was like, okay, I'll take me some Kelly Rowland. But then a little bit later in life was Atlanta's own. Oh God, I'm ashamed to admit that I've seen this movie and seen it quite a few times. Roll Bounce. Oh, and how Megan Good.
Bro, I was just thinking about her.
Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my goodness, Megan Good.
Biker Boys, yeah, that's when she came out with the popping out because she was in Cousin Skeeter.
Cousin Skeeter, I had a crush on her back in Cousin Skeeter days, but
Megan Good.
But I had a crush on Tyra Banks and Nia Long before that.
So. Right. That's the only reason I didn't have Megan Good because it was later.
Oh man, that was a good time in my life. But I think that pretty much wraps it up, gentlemen.
We got the so anybody got like shout outs they want to do, or what is it? We do recommendations, right?
Yeah, recommendations, shout outs, whatever you like to do here at the end. What you're watching, what you're reading, what you
Hey man, I want to shout y'all out, man. I appreciate y'all having me, man. This was awesome.
Big ups to you, man, because that interview was hellified interesting.
Yeah.
Yo, I appreciate y'all, man. It was a good time. It's a real good time, man. Just real good conversation more than anything else. All right. So I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. I
genuinely appreciate your presence here.
Thank you so much for coming on.
And informative. I like the difference between the size of the fields. Now I knew the 20-yard end zone, but 65 yards sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
I didn't know any of that stuff, so I learned a lot. I didn't know the downs. I didn't know the the 20-yard, the 65. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
But the 18 games, I didn't even know the 18-game season thing.
Shout your Instagram handle out, Byron.
Byron Parker 28. That's a BYRON PARKER number 28. Find me. That's my Instagram. That's my Twitter. And what else do we have? I think that's it.
Give us a local food recommendation, gentlemen. How about that?
Have y'all been to Big Dave's Cheesesteak?
No, but we got an interesting story about him. Our son goes to daycare with the daughter of Dave.
I went out there 2 weeks ago. About 3 cheesesteaks, 2 cheesesteak egg rolls, and 2 chicken cheesesteak egg rolls. Amazing.
They got the cheesesteak egg rolls?
Egg rolls.
Oh man.
Amazing.
And to take a line from your Instagram, is that how you got Chunky Swole? Chunky
Swole, man. So I had so the thing about Chunky Swole, I actually made a shirt yesterday. Chunky Swole is for like the big guys. Like I was athletic, but I realized like getting back in shape hurts so much that I'm just going to embrace my body and just be a swole, fat, good-looking guy, right? So I came up with the term Chunky Swole. So I'm gonna make shirts for big guys. Sorry, Marco, you don't look like you fit the criteria to be 230 pounds. You know what I call sexy size double X shirts. You know what I mean? But Chunky Swole, man, is something I thought of. I was like, because working out hurts. It just hurts, man. It's a lot of work. Eating right. I was just like, you know what? Lizzo is embracing her body, and they loving her for it. So I'm gonna do the same.
He still dunk?
Hell no. So I've come to grips with that. Look, I've come to grips where I'm just cool with finger roll. I'm just gonna finger roll.
A little smooth.
I'm just gonna finger roll, little finger roll off the glass. Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Micah, what you got food wise?
So I want since you talked about cheesesteaks, let me do another one, another black owned cheesesteak place, Williams.
Will downtown Stone Mountain.
Yes. Well, so I actually know I know the owner of it.
Will.
Yeah. He, real good dude. Chiefs fan, Pat Mahomes fan.
From Philly.
But really good cheesesteaks. Also, I want to give another shout out to my boy Flu at Loving the Flu on Instagram, or Flu University, as he's gonna be giving us some food for tomorrow. So yeah,
some fish and grits.
yes. So shout out to you, Flu.
Micah just took my recommendation, so go for it, Marco, as I think of another.
Well, the only food I've been eating is straight out of my mama's kitchen. So I'm gonna shout out my mama for all the love and tenderness she puts in those ribs, the chicken, the everything. That mac and cheese was yours, Ryan. So
yeah,
that was fire.
Hey, don't hate on me for my mac and cheese. It's
no, that was good, man.
Not you. I'm just talking about everyone else.
Okay.
I'll throw down some mac and cheese. I'll put my mac and cheese up against anybody's.
Let's do it. My macaroni and cheese is amazing. It's amazing.
If you're inviting me to eat large portions of macaroni and cheese,
let's do it.
I can't say that this is a challenge that I'm not willing to take.
Let's do it.
Tito be damned.
Let's do it.
I think I can get down with that.
You use shells, or do you use the macaronis?
I use the elbows.
The elbows? Okay.
Yeah. It's so funny that last weekend was my uncle's 70th birthday party, and they called me to make macaroni and cheese. So I'm getting like the stuff from my parents. My dad asked me to make it. So as I'm walking out the door, my mom's like, "Oh, here's some more cheese," and she hands me the Velveeta cheese, and I look at her like, I don't put that in my macaroni and cheese. That's beneath me.
So I hadn't either for the longest time, and then I went and tried this lady's mac and cheese not too long ago. I was like, man, that is good. What's the secret? She's like, well, I did this. I was like, yeah, I do that. And she said, well, Velveeta too. And I was like,
you put Velveeta in there?
And I was like, really? What?
That's what I said when he told me that.
Yeah, this last time I put Velveeta in it we were snobs with our cheese for the longest time. To make mac and cheese was like a $40 trip.
Oh, so it's a yes. Yeah.
Right. That's how you're supposed to make it.
Yeah.
I was like, let me try it. Let me just see what Velveeta, let me see what this government grade cheese is. Let me see what it's all about.
It's yellow goo.
Yeah, for real. It's like, I don't even want to know how this is a solid and a liquid all at the same time. I don't even want to know. But I threw it in there, and it added another dimension to it, man. I don't hate on it unless you tried it.
I might give it a shot.
You know
what? I'll try yours. I'll let you make yours with the Velveeta, and I'll make mine red.
I'm gonna throw heavy cream in there again with it this time to kind of add a little more softness to it. But
don't make it soggy now.
Nah,
heavy cream won't.
No. All right, gentlemen. I think that concludes episode 10 of Fish and Grits, the podcast.
The podcast.
I think it was a good episode, gentlemen. I think we
absolutely
we did a good job there, even though we were a man down. We filled in and exceeded that with a.
See you soon, Lion-O.
What'd you say? You were embracing your handsome chunky swole? What was it?
My chunky swole. I'm embracing chunky my body swole. Like Lizzo. Chunky swole.
So we gotta get Micah to slim down a little bit so he can be one of your spokespersons. Like Micah definitely.
Micah, we make
Micah can do it now.
Sizes, baby. We make sexy sizes. Whatever size you need, we got it. We got it, baby. Sexy sizes only. Nothing below an extra large.
I hear you. Let's do
it. I don't even remember the last time I wore extra large.
What you at? 3? You 3?
Oh, I'm over 3.
Damn.
Because I'm 6'3".
You sexy size for real then. I got something for you, man.
On that note, let's take it out on the sexy sizes. Shout out to Juan Solano, who does our intro, our outro, and our break music. He is interlude break, whatever you want to call it. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at JamesJuan007. Our sponsor, but not actual sponsor, Sway Sauce, who makes some of the best hot sauce made right here in Atlanta. They just sold out of their latest batch again. I'm Ryan Dollar. Gentlemen, see yourself out.
Marco Restrepo. Later, guys.
All right. Later, y'all.
That's Micah Poole and Byron Parker, our very special guest. Thank you for coming on. We are out of here, gentlemen.
Peace.